Untenable. That's the word of the week. I don't know what to say. I'm here today, Port fans, and anyone else that is a footy fan watching to see a Port Adelaide's perspective. I know I didn't do any reviews for the last couple of games, and I do apologise for that. I'm not hiding away from the fact of what Port Adelaide's performances have been. I've just been in Melbourne, Formula One. I was at the game for the Collingwood clash, and I've seen both games. I have some feelings, and obviously this week it's really opened up. Like the words from Treadray, the words from Corns, Ollie Wines, Koshy. There've been some big names come out and state some very different things. Support for Ken, support for the club, against Ken. Some measured opinions, all of them, in my opinion. But obviously, everyone's going to take this situation differently. Because people have been calling for Ken's head for years. And look, you might say that I haven't been on board with that. I'm definitely one of those people that have tried to hold back these feelings from a point of view where you just look at the next week, you see what you can do next week, and just simply do 1 week at a time. Keep a measured approach, because lashing out and going against the club and doing all of that is just not who I am, and that's just a personal opinion. Very much Warren Treadray's comments are valid. They're not valid for the first 3 rounds of the year. They're valid for a period of time and a bulk of work that has been... The situation's been rising like bread in the oven. Like it has been cooking. To suggest that Ken should be sacked after the first 3 rounds of this year? No chance. Why would you unsettle a season that's still very much alive? Performance-wise, yes. Very much so. It's concerning for the season alone. But in the position we are now, and the current situation with contracts, commitment, and consistency and general concern, I have a lot to say about how this approach is from people within the club and the people outside the club. Everyone has the right to an opinion on this situation, and this is where, Port fans, light up the comments. Let me know your thoughts. The word untenable has been used everywhere. Currently, right now, if Port Adelaide continue the way they go, Ken Hinkley will not be coach after this year. We've been stated clearly that the decisions and the situation of that coaching position will have to wait till August. Now, that's all well and good. I'm happy to do that. I know probably what the outcome will be when it comes to August, but let's see how we ride until then. But right now, at 1-2, with a very good win against Brisbane, very good, a full 4-quarter performance. That was very impressive and lit up Port fans' faces. It was sensational to see. 14 days is a long time in football. We've gone and been embarrassed against a Collingwood outfit that's probably premiership favourites right now. We've come out in a showdown in our Prison Bar Guernsey, our heritage Guernsey. The one that we've tried so hard to get in and showcased in a home showdown, and we get pretty much flipped over like a burger in the last quarter and cooked. There were some moments in the game itself that really were concerning, and it comes from the leadership. It's the leadership on the park. Tom Jones's form has been bang average. Ollie Wines hasn't leaned to the standard he'd hope, and nowhere near Brownlow form. Darcy Byrne-Jones has not been good for a couple of years. He's had his moments, but genuinely has just lost his touch. I didn't want to bring it up, but the commitment of certain players, like the situation in the last quarter with Boak was scared of the impact he was going to have with the Crows player. That's just fright from a rib injury. There were moments where Horne-Francis didn't chase after the footy. I'm going to talk about the average situation right now for Port Adelaide in stats. We're 16th in contested possessions. There is no grunt in our midfield. There is no balance in our midfield. There is, besides Willem Drew, who probably was our best in the first half, there was not a lot. We were lucky to get some outside run. With clearances in the comp, we were nowhere to be seen on the weekend, but clearances in the competition, I'm pretty sure we're third. And it's just mind-boggling to think that we get bugger all contested possessions, but we're third for clearances. Around the ground, we're very open. We don't have a very structured defence at the moment. Our forward line is working. Todd Marshall, Charlie Dixon's in fantastic form. Rioli's getting the ball on his hands. Orazio as the sub. Lockie Jones. Pau Pepper's probably been our best so far this year. All of these things sort of combine to an attitude aspect where players are just not giving it all. And it's going to cost Ken Hinkley his job. Now, obviously, over the course of the years, it's probably been building to this situation. And the trigger certainly had stages where it could have been pulled a lot quicker last year. After the prelim in 2021, there were moments that trigger could have been pulled. But right now, there is a situation where the publicity of this football club right now is a concern. This image is being tarnished because of a performance aspect. We've come out talking, we're chirping, we're doing all of these things, trying to stick our chest out. There is no need to do it anymore. From now on, I want Port Adelaide to do one thing. Whether or not the talk about Ken continues to happen, it's going to be there the whole time. We've got to live with it. Put your head down and actually focus on the 4 quarters you're going to play every single week. No more talk. No more none of this chirping away at ex-players. No more none of this, we're expected to be 1 and 2. None of that rubbish. Don't accept what you are at the moment. Accept the fact that you've got to improve on what you are, but don't accept that you wanted to be 1 and 2. Because rightfully, after the first week, beating Brisbane, we could have been 3-0. Going into a Sydney game that's not as much pressure. But now we're treading on eggshells. It is a situation where all this talk, and you just roll your eyes and you think, just shut up and play footy. I love this football club so much. I've made a YouTube channel about it. I've generally poured my heart and soul into believing every single week that we're a chance. But right now I sit here and I just think, I know it's going to happen. It's going to get ugly if we don't turn it around. It's a lack of connection between the football club and its fan base. That is, Traders was 100% correct on that. The noise from us right now is louder than ever. We've promises have been granted in some aspects. The prison bars were represented. We came out with a fresh look in round 1. Aggressive trade period, good draft. But overall, there's been some empty promises, and they're hurting right now. Port fans are hurting. We're in a situation where we can do nothing about it. It's round 3. I'm doing this talk. We shouldn't be in this position where a concern and alarm bells are flying off the radar. So, in saying that, how can this be fixed? I've talked for 8.5 minutes. I've been talking about what's going wrong. What's probably going to happen. What can we do to fix this? It's simple. I give us 5 weeks. There is 5 weeks of football to prove yourself. After that, I'm raising the question, and I'm really going to be starting to be generally concerned about where we stand in 5 weeks. There's 5 games coming up. Sydney at the SCG. Gather round at home against the Western Bulldogs. Anzac round against West Coast at home. St Kilda on a Friday night, and Melbourne, I'm pretty sure it's a Thursday or a Friday night, in Adelaide. That's 5 weeks. Winnable games. All winnable, in my eyes, if we play at our best. That's a big if. But if you generally want to prove yourself and to your fan base this year that this year is not something we want to throw away or start again, Control-Alt-Delete, this is your 5-week block where you say, right, we're in a position now where we're backs against the wall. What do? We come out and we win the next 5 games. That's an expectation that's very high. That's an expectation that is actually realistic, because you obviously expect to win every game. But if we come out and lose by 10 goals to Sydney, we come to gather around in our feature event in Adelaide, and we go down to the Dogs, who have been very questionable. It's just there is a writing on the wall. The next 5 weeks for me is what will prove to myself whether or not Port Adelaide are genuine in 2023, and they're genuine about changing how they look right now. Port fans, I know you're demanding. I know you want me to hear me say Zach Ken. And by all means, I'm all for it. But I just really want this season not to be a waste. I want money's worth for my membership. I want to go see and be happy watching Port Adelaide week to week. I want to see performances where I can be like, you know what? In 3 years' time, that bloke's going to be great. Or in 2 years' time, he's going to fully develop. I don't want to be here being negative. That's my gripe. This situation is untenable. It's been the word of the week. If you had a wordle for it, you know, it's not quite 5 letters. It's a bit more. But, you know, it's the word at the moment. It's a lose-lose situation. Things have got to change, Port. I want to see something different. So let's go out and do it.